Hi everybody. Hope you had a good week. Happy Friday. Okay, because it's Friday, this video might be a little bit longer than my usuals, although I'll try to keep it around 10 minutes or under, and then I'm going to do an extra one because I got a lot to say on this, and I'm going to talk about some stuff coming up too, so that's why. Okay, so usually on Fridays, they do two things. They try to wrap up a couple stories and then they give you some cliffhangers for the next week, right? Okay, so the storyline they tried to close up a little bit, although there's some stuff coming up. I'll get to that. Is the Sharon storyline? Um, and Sharon did something that's completely out of character for the Sharon character. I say Sharon character because the actress name is Sharon Case. So the character of Sharon is going through, um, I'd say, a hallucination, out of body thing, or some people say evil Sharon. Either one applies, but I see it as, I'm sure you all have heard the expression, an angel on one side and the devil on the other side, right? Okay, so I think the Cameron Kirsten character is like her devil, and her angel is like just herself when she's having a heart and thinking about what she's doing. And I really think that part of it is maybe it's her own um, thoughts and everything and what she'd like to do. But I do think the ghost of Cameron is kind of pushing her that way too. So I think it's like a combo thing. Okay. So the reason I say they're gonna try to finish it is, I mean, it's been going on for months now. So, and it's kind of ironic that it happened very little by little, you know. I mean, at first she forgot things, little things, and then she have a blackout. I think that was the worst. Besides now, she just has things where she's agitated and the littlest things bother her. And the other thing is her family, being Nick, Mariah, and Faith, are trying to help her out, but she's pushing them away. She pushed Mariah away today because apparently, now I don't know, this might be a story in a story. So, but apparently they were supposed to have a meeting in Madison somewhere. They didn't specify Madison what. So that's why I'm kind of confused slightly. But the point of it is she was supposed to have a meeting and she just never went. And now she lied to Mariah and she had to come clean a little bit, and but she didn't completely fess up, and she said, well, I had a meeting in Madison. I know we had a meeting, but I changed it. I canceled and I'm going to reschedule. But at first she acted like she was in Madison until Mariah kind of pinned her to the wall and said, okay, well, where are you? I'd like, if we're in the same place, I'd like for us to meet and talk face to face. And it wasn't until she kept saying it and saying it that Sharon broke and said, you know, I canceled the meeting, I'm not there, all that stuff. So, and to be honest, um, I know that if you're going to have a story arc and a true arc, it's going to take a while. But there's this thing, even in music, where, okay, say you got a piece of music, right? You start off really slow, and then there's a crescendo, which is a top, okay? and then it just has to go down from there because you reach a level where you reach as high as it can go and still make sense. So then the piece has to go down. So we're finally in the downward trajectory, if it were. Okay. So that means that whatever and whoever Sharon is going to affect is going to happen really soon. And even if I didn't see the promos for next week, I'd still say that because it has to go. I mean, you know. Um, the only other thing is that okay, so Nick is worried about Sharon because of aforementioned things, and he goes to his family and kind of says, okay, for a little bit of advice of what would you do, what should I do, kind of a thing. But ultimately, he's going to make his own decision on what he's going to do, and I like that because I kind of, if I had to pick a character I like because of everything they do, kind of, and I understand their, psychological things and motivations, is Nick because he does ask for advice, but ultimately he makes the final decision. Whereas Victoria is so worried about pissing Victor off that sometimes she'll do what her dad says, even though she wants to do something different. So, um, okay, so we have that piece. So basically, you have two forces at work here. You have the family unit who wants Sharon to be okay, and then you have her who she doesn't want to do anything ultimately bad, I believe, but I don't know how it's gonna go. Um, all right, and then we have Billy, Billy and Phyllis. Um, Oh, Phyllis is still behind Billy, which I understand, I guess, to a point, but I don't understand her tactics all the time. Because I think that she has a quality that some people have where you don't think about what you do before you do it, you just kind of jump in. But then the thing is that when you do that, you have to face the consequences after. So that might not be the best tack to take. However, um, okay, so Chelsea and Adam were discussing their one night stand relationship, whatever, in the cafe, and uh, so Chelsea is all concerned about it being from Connor's perspective and wanting to protect Connor, but then Adam finally fesses up and says, "Well, to be honest, we have to discuss it. We have to discuss what we're going to do from this point on because it's like the elephant in the room. It's there, so you have to discuss it." So she says, okay. And at first, he doesn't want to say anything because I don't know why. Which I, that's the one part I didn't understand. Not because I didn't understand the storyline, because I didn't understand his hesitation. Apparently, they've been together for years back. They have a child, and so you would think that you'd have a comfortability that you don't have with many people with this one person that you created a child with. But maybe I'm missing something. So she says, okay, what do you want to say? Like, what is it? I know you want to say something. What is it? He says, well, Connor's not the only one who wants us back together. I have thought about it too. And she kind of laughs it off or says, what are you talking about? That kind of thing. And then he says, come on, maybe just try. So then she walks away, and and then Billy just happens to be sitting like across the way where, you know how if you're in a restaurant, imagine a restaurant for a second. Okay, you're in a restaurant and a person is kind of away from you, but still close enough to hear what you're talking about. So Billy is in that seat, right? So Billy just happens to hear what happens between Adam and Chelsea. And then when Chelsea leaves, he thinks that Adam did something or said something to make her leave. So, I don't think they actually said anything yet, but that's one of the cliffhangers that I think is going to happen next week. I mean, I think it's all going to be brought out and discovered whatever happened, you know? So that's one of the things. Um, and then yeah, that was it because the rest of it was what's gonna happen with Sharon. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna make the other video about kind of future predictions and what I think is gonna happen next week, based on a little bit of promo, but a lot more of what I've been seeing and what I think is going to happen. Okay, so I'm going to do that right now.